Hello there, my name is Bruce Wren from Brankus Creations and thank you for joining my stream. Hello to everyone. Hello Steve, hello Trina, hello Jay. How many have we got watching at the moment? 7. Hello to the 7 people. Hello the man Salvi. Maciac, who is under the guise of Maciac? Is that GT there today? Oops, I need to log into my account. All right, okay, so hello to everyone. If there are any new viewers, please jump on and say hello. Micro Mage Repair, hello. And yeah, so if you're a new viewer to the stream, please jump on and say hello. I'm sorry I didn't stream yesterday. I know I've been doing that fairly regularly, but just had too many things to do. And in actual fact, today will probably have to be a fairly quick stream because I've still got just mountains and mountains of things to do. The moment you see a view of what this desk looks like, you'll see what I mean. So, so anyone who was about to ask, have you cleaned your workshop yet? The answer is still no. Basically, just gradually, the walls are closing in on me, and I'm getting less and less space to actually work. So that's got to be sorted out today. Yes, so it is GT. Hello, GT. Thank you very much for joining. So anyhow, I am going to. In terms of what I've got to recap at the moment, I've got an LC2 which I did just the other day. So I thought, no, I won't do that. OzRetroComp, hello, welcome. Should I continue calling you OzRetroComp, or do I start referring to you by your actual name now that I know who you are? Okay, GT is now here is GT. Yeah. So anyhow, I have an LC2, and I did an LC2 stream just like, I don't know, a week or so ago, something like that, and I've got an LC575 to do. I've got 2 LC575s to do, and again, they seem to be the common thread: the Color Classic, the SE30, and the 575. Now the LC is a little bit rarer, but I did one just a little while ago. So I thought what I would actually do today is a 610, because I don't think I've ever done a stream of recapping a 610. Not that it's going to be anything particularly different, but Raphael, hello, and thank you for joining. I will try and make this as educational as possible and as interesting as possible. Now, I'm just going to jump across to this little side view here. This is my messy desk, and this is the 610 board. It's already out of the computer. I made no secret about the fact that I really like the 610. I really like the pizza box Max. I like the small pizza box. Okay, OzRetroCom is Tone. Hello, Tone. How are you? So I did a recapping job for Tone the other day, and I didn't even know I had. And I would be very interested to know how that's going. So when you get a chance to fire it up, please let me know. So this is obviously one of the larger pizza box Macs, the ones that came in this form factor. There was the 610, there was the 660 AV, there was the 6100. There are a few models that came in this, large pizza box factor, which had, it was obviously short and flat, but it was wider and deeper, and it had a CD-ROM, a spot for a CD-ROM. Not all of them had a CD-ROM in them, but they had a spot for a CD-ROM. So you could have floppy drive, CD, and hard drive inside the case. The Quadras, obviously, they have these little, what are they, AUI or whatever they call them, connector here for doing your Ethernet stuff. You can just decide what sort of Ethernet output you want. Once 10 base T took over as the most popular form of Ethernet, the Macs just started having 10 base T ports on them. But at this stage, there were still some people using thin, some people using thick, some people using 10 base T. So this connector allowed you to just put an adapter on there to then choose which Ethernet you wanted to work with. So there. And I need to do some work with this computer, which is why I decided I wanted to recap it. I bought this from one of my customers, one of my recapping customers. He was getting rid of some of his computers, and he let me know what was available, and I said I would like a 610, because a 610 is kind of my nemesis. I had a 610, many years ago, and I went to go recap it, and I made an absolute mess of it. It was obviously early days of recapping, and I got a little bit gung-ho, and I decided to change the battery holder and stuff like that, and I damaged some traces and everything, and I got it working again, but then it stopped working again, and then I kind of gave up on it. So anyhow, that was that's just a sad story about the 610. So this 610, I'm going to get this one working properly. So yeah. Well, let me just have a quick check on the chat. A600 Bruce recapped a few weeks ago. Back was mine. Yes. Okay. So Nick White, hello. LC and a Mac 2CI. Judah, another Mac Centris coming in the mail. Awesome, fantastic. Growing the collection there. Yeah, so basically Oz RetroComp decided that he wanted to know what the service treatment would be like for an unknown to send me a recapping job. So he basically just sent it to me under his real name. Didn't let me know he was Oz RetroComp because he just wanted to try it out, try me out, see whether I would provide good or bad service to someone I didn't know. So, and I hope the service went well. So he did obviously get to see me cussing the 600 because of how close the capacitors were to plastic, which made it quite a sizable job. But anyhow, all went well in the end. Okay, Scarlet Swordfish, hello. Tom Barber, hello. I haven't actually done 12 out of 10 for Bruce's service. Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much. So anyhow, I've got to get back to the 610. Now this, I've been calling it a Quadra 610, but the fact is it is actually a Centris 610. And so the Centris 610 is the version that has the LC CPU. So it is a 68040 CPU. And it's the 68LC. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the little LC letters stand for on the CPU, I'm going to zoom in here on the microscope so we can see our beautiful LC letters. Oh man, there we go. All right, there we go. XC68LC040RC20A, 20 megahertz LC 68040 CPU. The LC means that it does not have a built-in floating point unit or math coprocessor. But here I have this. This is a spare CPU, 68040 without the LC. Oh, and it's a 25 megahertz as well. Look at that. It's even faster than the other one. So that's great. So anyhow, I'll recap it first, and then I will swap CPUs over and see if it's, I'll do some speed tests and things like that. Won't that be fun? Okay. Okay, just checking here. We're sending at least one Amiga over in the near future. Yes, so I mean, the only issue I have with Amigas, I'm always happy to do Amigas. At the end of the day, people started contacting me saying, "Look, will you do Amigas as well?" And I said, "Well, you know, theoretically, yes. There's nothing to stop me from recapping them. The only problem is that I don't have much in the way of Amiga equipment for testing. So if you send the computer to me, and you know, I don't have all the bits I need for testing it, I can recap it, but I can't give it back to you tested. So that's the only problem. Yes, indeed, I talked about the LC at length on Mac Yak. We all did, actually. We had a good old chat about the LC family. So anyhow, I am going to move on to recapping now, because you know what happens when I just start going on these tangents and then nothing gets done. So as you can see, we've got, I didn't bring the recapping guide down with me. I hope I've got one down here. I'll have to check. I did print it. So we've got, these are quite a few surface mount electrolytic capacitors, and I can actually tell they're leaking. They've got that smeariness around them. In particular, I can see it around here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the light where I want it. Yeah, it can sort of see it, but it's not, yeah, it's not super visible. But right there's quite a bit of that smeariness. And around here, if we have a look at it on the microscope, we'll be able to see it. So let's just jump across to there. And you can see that there. I mean, a really easy way of checking is to just grab. So I've got to focus my eyes so they match the camera being in focus. Right. So if I just get this, I'm just going to Q-tip. I'm just going to give that a bit of a white. You get to see all of that scunge there. That's just all capacitor electrolyte leakage. Does the board work now? It is my understanding that it does. I don't even recall whether I fired it up when I first got it. I think I might have just pulled it straight apart for recapping. But it is my understanding that the last time it was switched on, it did work. But having said that, I mean, look at that. You know, I mean, this could well have stopped working between then and now. So we'll see. Okay, now, as I didn't bring my recapping guide with me, I'm going to have to give this board a quick look. I don't actually have a recapping guide for this one on the website at the moment. I do have a recapping guide, I just haven't put it up there yet. It will be there soon. So we've got a 47, 47, 47, 47, 47, 47, 47, 47, 47. Well, I don't need to worry too much about which caps go where because they're all the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 47 microfarad, 16 volt capacitors that all need to be replaced. Okay. YouTube said in 60 seconds and 10 minutes later. Okay. Hello, Steve. I have said hello to you before, but you weren't listening, so I'll say hello to you again now that you are listening. All right. Okay. All right. So obviously you have to take the old capacitors off, and then I've got to put new ones on, and I am running so incredibly low on capacitors at the moment. I am going to have to pop up and order some as soon as I finish this live stream. Otherwise, I won't have any for doing any more boards. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 12 47 microfarad capacitors left. Goodness me, how did I let it get that bad? On the bright side, I generally can get them next day, so I shouldn't have any issues getting those. I'll put in an order today, and I should get them Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, the capacitor ferry has been very busy stealing all these capacitors. I've just been doing so many lately. The 47s are the ones that generally take the biggest beating because they're the most common ones. So I've still got quite a few 10 microfarad 16 volt, quite a few 100 microfarad 6.3, and quite a few 1 microfarad 50 volt. So it's only the 47s. I just need to buy a whole stack more of them. All right, so as with all the recappings, okay, here's all the little normal introductory stuff. I do have links in the description for the equipment that I use. If you have any questions about the equipment that I use or the products or anything, please feel free to jump in and ask. I have links to budget-friendly versions of sort of some of this equipment as well. If you don't want to fork out the bigger dollars for some of this stuff. Yeah, so anyhow, just letting everyone know that if you look in the description, you'll see all those links there. I am going to remove these capacitors, replace them with tantalum capacitors, and then I'll test it out. And then what I'll do is I will clean this board afterwards. Now, because this is my board, I might get a little bit relaxed with some of the stuff that I do, but I'll still be very careful with it, I promise. I'm always super careful when I'm doing other people's boards, but sometimes when I'm doing my own, I go, oh, do I really need to put a heat shield there? Maybe not. Okay. Okay. Right. All right. Okay. Well, let's begin, shall we? We'll start getting these caps off. Here's cap number 1. I can see that it's looking quite crunchy around there. You can see here that, that should be nice and shiny, and it's all yuck. So it's got to go. It's got to go. There we go. Let's get some heat happening. I know this is going to stink. Oh boy, this one really stinks. Oh, that's gross. I mean, so, you know, when they're leaking, they all smell, but some seem to just smell worse than others. And this one really reeks. I'm having a bit of trouble getting this off, which suggests that there's probably some component adhesive underneath this. Come on. What is going on here? No component adhesive, just had a real trouble getting rid of it. Okay. Yes. Turn on your fan. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always forget during the winter time because I'm cold. Until I get my extraction thing finished and built. I've got a lot of the bits for it, I just need to build it. Oh, I'm melting the serial number. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. There we go. Let's try that. See if that helps. Off she comes. Hey, thank you. Goodbye. The traces on this are awful. It's this sort of darker board with these yellow traces. Yuck. Don't like them. Not nice. 610 has some RAM on board, which we're looking at right there. I don't know exactly how much is on board. Steve will probably be able to tell me how much RAM the 610 has on board. It's probably 2 or 4 or something like that. And I can see some VRAM on board here as well. So I will be able to get this to fire up without putting any RAM in it. It has a spot here where you can see there's all these holes, but no actual slot in here at all. But it has a spot for a ROM sim. But this one actually has onboard ROM, so I assume at some stage they did release or were going to release a version with ROM, with you know, so removable ROM. Okay, this camera's nicely framed in that chip right now. Oh, I moved. Sorry. I'm going to try and get to it again. Okay, how about there? It's nice and even. What about there? Like we got, my face has now got pins coming out of it. Okay, so I'm just killing time here at the moment because I'm trying to find some more heat shields. There we go. There's one, and I saw another one here too. There we go. This is all this whole messy workshop situation I've got brewing at the moment, which is not good. Whoopsie, there we go. Okay, I need these. Just sit there. Oh, I dropped one of my springs. Ugh. Right, I've got 3 caps here. Generally, as I've said before, when I have a few caps in close proximity, I generally take them all off together because the board gets warm and it makes the second and third one easier to get off once that first one's done. Off you come. There's one. There's 2. And there's 3. Ah. Do you know how many of these little things I have to throw away? There are a few things that I end up collecting ridiculous amounts of, and that is obviously removed dead old capacitors. I mean, I throw them away, but ultimately, you know, I just accumulate so many of them. And the other is these floppy drive cogs, floppy drive eject cogs. I've got a lot of these. Yep. These are what I refer to as the cheese cog. I call them that because when they get old, they become the consistency of a nice hard cheese. You know, like a really nice tasty cheese or something like that. Maybe maybe like a Gruyere or something like that. Nice hard aged cheese. And yes, they have to be replaced. Thankfully, there are people out there 3D printing them. One day that'll be me as well when I get a 3D printer. But for the moment, I'm having to buy them. I have mentioned these before in my live streams that I was buying them from one place in the States and they had really good cogs. Then I found a place out here making them and they weren't as good. They just lacked a bit of consistency about them. And then I found another place here in Australia that's making really good ones. So I've got to buy some more from them. I used my last one the other day. So this is actually one of the things with doing this stuff. The live streaming is the recapping, which is, yeah, that's all great. But there is so much stuff that I have to do, which does not make for very interesting live streams, like ordering parts, working through... Oh, that one just exploded. It was just blowing plumes of smoke out the side. I have to order parts. I have to... I've got, you know, computers that I might recap them and they still don't work, so I've got to then work through and find the fault. Some of them are very easy to find the fault. Some of them are really hard. I've got a Color Classic here at the moment. It's giving me so much grief. And I just found this beautiful, big, corroded, yucky Via. And I was like, oh, fantastic. It's got to be that. And so I repaired it. No, it still don't work. Still doesn't work. So anyhow, I've got to just keep working my way through finding the problem. Real pain. Now, I'm just going to put this heat shrink on this one here. We've got that there, so that metal thing. That's a fuse, and it's a self-repairing fuse. So when it blows, it will actually repair itself so that it can live to blow another day. But the problem is that when they get hot, they fall apart. They actually fall apart into two pieces. So I want to shield that from the heat. So somehow or other, if I can. How about I take this one off and then I can use that spot. Retro Bedroom, hello. Watching my phone, 3G connection since I don't have any. Okay, I'll try not to do anything too high res. Okay. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, we can turn these into something very, very beautiful. Yeah, it looks some jewelry or an earring or something like that. Yep. Now, I mentioned before that this is just 47 microfarad 16 volt cap, so I don't really need a guide for this because, you know, I mean, they're all the same. But one thing I should mention is that, and this is something that happened to someone, one of my customers, or certainly someone that was asking me questions. They had a board that had a few empty spots on it that weren't meant to have components on it, and then they ended up putting components there when they shouldn't have. So it's still good to have a guide, even if you know exactly what all the caps are. Look at all that stinky, greasy dust. Off she comes. Just a reminder to everyone that this is the way I remove capacitors. Everything that I do, I would never say is the right way. It is just the way I do it. So people regularly talk about, oh, you know, you can twist them off, or you can cut them off, or you can do all that. That's fine. I'm never going to recommend that, but if that's the way you want to do it, that's fine. But what I am always demonstrating is what works for me. I've never tried to say that what I'm doing is the right way. It's just my way. Just so that everyone knows that. All right, what do we got here? Oh, look at that. Jay's just come to the rescue again with his the little bit of advertising there. Thank you very much. Tobias, hello. Welcome to the stream. You did not receive a notification. JJ Brubaker, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. Man must have coffee. Indeed. Indeed he must. What was I going to say? Yes, YouTube notifications. I mean, look, we all know what we're supposed to do. You click on the subscribe button, then you go to the bell, and you click on the bell, and you say, you know, yes, you want notifications. But it's just so hit and miss. It's really frustrating. I mean, I have people contacting me all the time saying, "Oh, I didn't get the notification. I missed the stream," and it's like, there's just not much I can do. You know, I put the notifications on my Facebook page. I put the notifications on, you know, through YouTube. I do plan to set up some sort of mailing list system soon. If people want to give me their email address, I can send them an email when I'm going live. But there's only so much I can do. I'm relying on these notification systems that I don't have any control over. I do the stream, you know, and I mean, sometimes notifications come, sometimes they don't. This is now the second last capacitor that's going to come off. I should have done the LC575. Way fewer capacitors on that. Oh, look at this. It looks like chocolate. I'm at a really bad angle here. Oh, got it off though. That's good. It's been bad with notifications this week. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, the Jonathan Goldman guy was a waste of time. The drive I bought died yesterday. No wonder he only charged $9. Oh dear. So, Nick, please tell me, what sort of drive was it? Please remind me if you have discussed it before. What sort of, are we talking floppy drive, hard drive? I'm very curious to know. I see a few people sort of reporting that they're having some issues with the old YouTube viewing and all that sort of stuff. But you know, is everyone still getting me okay? Is it all clear? Is it all working? Is it everything fine? I've got green lights here. I've got no drop frames or anything like that, so I'm hoping that everything is okay. ATA drive for a Duo 2300. Okay. I guess one of the advantages of an ATA drive is you can probably get an ATA to SD adapter. I don't know how well it'll work in a Duo 2300, but if it's an ATA drive rather than a SCSI, there are some quite inexpensive ATA to SD adapters out there. So, and then you could start running it off an SD card instead of having an old spinner hard drive. No one, not a soul, can sell a hard drive these days with any form of guarantee that it's going to you know, sort of work for any length of time. No one makes new stock, so everything you're using is old stock. I mean, maybe if you found one as new old stock that has never been used, you might get more out of that. But even that, you know, you can have rubbers that deteriorate and stuff like that. So yeah, at the end of the day, if you're buying a second-hand hard drive, it might last you a week, it might last you a day, it might last you a year, but it's going to fail. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I assume that one you bought, Nick, there was no guarantee or warranty provided. I can only assume. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's pretty hard to offer any sort of warranty on that, other than it works now. Okay, cleaning time. For those who've never seen me do this before, this is where I put flux and solder wick and clean it all up. He probably broke it on purpose. Oh, that's a terrible thing to say, isn't he? I thought he was one of the finest, most upstanding citizens around. Right. Oh, these are cleaning up really well. Look at that. See the way the solder then ends up just shaping itself like that little lozenge. Instead of to buy a SCSI to SD instead. Yes, obviously a SCSI to SD for SCSI drives. There is a SCSI to SD for the portables, you know, the laptops, but of course it's if it's an ATA drive, and the SCSI to SD is not for you. I have converted most of my computers to solid state. I've still got a huge pile of hard drives. I've got a massive pile of hard drives because when I had a whole stack of computers a long time ago, and I just always kept the hard drives. Even if I disposed of the computer or sold it or gave it away or something like that, I would keep the hard drive. So I've just got this mountain of hard drives there. So I still do have some hard drives to use if I need to, but pretty much most of the vintage Macs that I've got now that I use semi-regularly or regularly, I just have SCSI to SDs in them. I actually have SCSI to SDs in stock at the moment for anyone who might be watching. I have what do you call it? The version 5.0. And so if anyone is kind of interested in buying one from me, just keep in mind that they are expensive to buy from me. That's because they're expensive for me to buy. So I'm in the position where it's not like I get them for super cheap or anything like that. So what I do to make it better value is I sell them with an SD card already formatted, with an operating system installed for the computer that you want to use it with. So it costs a little bit more from me, but you basically get it ready to go. You just plug and play. You just open up the computer you want to put it in, you plug it in, and away you go. So that's what I sell. That's the service that I sell. So I'm not just selling the hardware, I am selling a service associated with it as well. So if you are someone that wants to buy one, you know, get in touch. As I say, I do have stock at the moment. I think I have three. I may end up having two because I'm probably going to put one in this computer. I'm terrible. I just, you know, I love getting these things working and then, you know, put a SCSI to SD in it and everything. And incidentally, when I do format and get the SCSI to SD ready, I usually plonk on a few apps as well. You know, just stuff off Macintosh Garden, just so that you're kind of ready to go. So it's coming up really well. I do want to clean that a little bit, though. I think I'll clean it before I test it because, you know. Okay. Reminds me, I need to buy one of those at some point. Yes, everybody needs to buy one. Do you use ATA or just the 2300? Yes, I'm not sure, Tom. That's something that we need Steve to answer. Steve's better at answering those sorts of things. He's has the encyclopedic knowledge of that. I have encyclopedic knowledge of some computers, but not all. And particularly the Duos. I know very little about the Duos. I have one in pieces over there. I bought it not working, and it's still not working. I just don't have time at the moment to get onto those little personal projects. I've got so many other people's computers that I need to fix. I don't really have time to do my own, unfortunately. So I have a little pile of busted computers that I will hopefully fix one day, or at least keep them parts. Okay. It is a beautiful Sunday here at the moment. It is about 12:30 on Sunday, and the sun is out. It's all nice. Apparently, we've got bad weather on the way. We've got about 3 or 4 days of rain coming, but enjoying the beautiful day, beautiful Sunday here for the moment. I hope it's nice where you are at the moment, all of you. Okay. It's hard with Duo because it's hard taking it apart and replace the SD. Yeah, I mean, Duo is SCSI and ATA. Oh, cool. That's good. Okay. Yeah. it is one of the problems with laptops in general. A lot of them are very hard to pull apart. You know, case in point is the old clamshell. For anyone who's ever pulled apart a clamshell, you know, sort of G3 iBook, whatever they are an absolute nightmare getting to the hard drive. So if you're going to replace that hard drive, you want to have to only do it once. So you make sure you replace it with something that's not going to fail. I've still got a box full of 2.5-inch ID, $100, great for certain magazines. Yep. Yep, this is all true. It's so satisfying seeing those shiny pads after you've cleaned them off with new solder. I agree. And it's also a satisfying thing knowing that it's going to make putting that new cap on really easy. You know, the solder's just going to stick straight to it. It's going to come out in a beautiful shape. The joint's going to look nice. So yeah. Raining and dark. That's no good. I mean, I know it is night time in some places. Mine has been busted for 20 years, but I still have the machine. Steve doesn't throw things away. Whether it's clearing up here, though, it's still. Oh, okay, yeah. It's not super cold here at the moment. We've been, pretty lucky, I suppose. Cold nights, but that's all. Key lime, I need to fix it. I'm dreading it. Look, at the end of the day, Steve, you get onto the iFixit, sort of guide, and you just pull them apart. And you do it a bit at a time and have a little container for all the screws to go in and put all the plastic there. It's just time consuming. It's not hard. It's just you've got to pull so many things apart. It's just not a fun job. But it's, it's not hard. It's just tedious. Oh, Tom Barber, that drives me bananas when you buy things from people and they sell it as like it's not working or something like that. This happened to me. I probably mentioned this on a live stream before. I actually did a magazine article on this in a magazine out here called Silicon Chip Magazine. And I wrote an article about repairing a MacBook Air. And it was sold on eBay as not working. I picked it up for super cheap, but when I heard about the problems it was having, I thought, you know what, I can probably fix that. And so the person I bought it from basically just put it in a padded post bag and they put the charger on top of it in the padded post bag. And at some stage during its journey, something heavy got put on it and the charger pushed down on the top of it and caused a huge crack in the LCD. And so I ended up having to, I ended up, getting a fairly significant refund because it was their fault. I tried to get the postal company to accept some responsibility, but they basically just came back and they said, no, this thing wasn't packed well enough, so tough. And it wasn't. I couldn't really argue with them for that. And of course, this person is they're selling you something that they think is broken, it's busted, so there's no value. So why do I need to pad it? Why do I need to look after it when I send it? And that was really, really frustrating because I fixed it really quickly. I can't remember what the problem was, but it was a really, really easy fix. And of course, getting that thing back up and running again, and then staring at that great big cracked screen and thinking to myself, you know what? If this person had just packed this better, it'd be done now. But then I had to go and buy an LCD for it and do that and everything. Got it all working, as I say, but just, extra work. And all it needed was for that person to just take a little bit more care with the packing, and it would have been easy. Okay. Packing a computer in Catalina. Because I have to ship computers around all the time. I have to ship computers and parts and stuff all the time. I have a huge supply of bubble wrap and packing peanuts. Because I mean, people might send things to me badly packaged, but when I send them back, they have got to be packaged really, really well. I don't want there ever to be any, anyone receiving something that I've recapped in pieces or busted or whatever. I've had stuff arrive here busted, but never getting back to the customer. I had one guy sent me an SE30 board, and he sent it with the RAM on, and he just didn't pack it well enough, and it got pushed down on it, and some of the RAM sims, or it might have been the ROM sim actually, got pushed and snapped off the little things that hold the ROM sim up. And I could see it. I mean, I could just see the way it was packed. It just wasn't packed well enough. So I applied a little fix for that, and then of course packed it very well for the trip home. I think this might be the last one for cleaning, and then we can start putting new caps on. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know there's 10 on here, so I've missed one somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Come on, where's 10? Don't vex me. Oh, there it is. Yep, found it. Did I clean it? Yeah, I think I did clean it. It looks clean. Yeah, that's clean. All right. Okay. So, should at least take a tiny bit of effort to ensure that it doesn't get even more broken in transit. Yeah. And as I say, I think it has mainly to do with the fact that when people are, selling broken stuff, they don't see any apparent value in it, and so they just don't worry about packing it well. Called me a clown for complaining. Machine worked fine except the damage and shipping. Yeah. Yeah, Trina, I agree with you totally. I mean, sort of, even if you're selling it as parts, pack it well. I mean, there's no point in having it, get more broken. But having said that, those two examples I just gave then of computers arriving damaged, that's it. I have to say, on the whole, the post is pretty good here in terms of looking after things. Right, so let's start putting some capacitors back on, shall we? As usual, I am going to use my trusty flux. This is my good quality Amtech flux, which I very much like using. And just checking here because I think I've got. Yep, we're all good. Okay. Here we go. And flux, of course, is a very, very important thing when it comes to soldering. It helps the solder flow by stopping the oxidization occurring. So, and means that the solder is more likely to flow into nice little shaped blobs rather than getting all lumpy and stuff. You do not want lumpy solder. And I've just moved this a little bit. I've got some space issues here. Okay, there we go. Can we see that? Can we see that? A little bit of out of focus. There we go. All right. Okay, let me just have a quick look and see how we're doing with viewers at the moment. Given the fact that I didn't have any notification, I've got 25 at the moment. So, thank you very much. I think it's 25. So I'm very pleased that 25 people have managed to get onto the stream. Given the fact that the notification, did anyone get a notification? Did anyone get a YouTube notification? Yes, you are right. There are actually quite a few tantalum caps on this. We'll go and have a look. So let me just. So we've got 10 microfarad 16 volt there, 10 microfarad 16 volt there, 10 microfarad 10 microfarad. So in this instance, a lot of the Macs have 47 microfarad 16 and 10 microfarad 16. They're ones that I have in supply there. But obviously with this particular board, they used tantalums for those 10 microfarad 16, and they used electrolytic for the 4716. Probably a cost-cutting measure would be my thought, because tantalum caps are quite expensive, and they certainly were more expensive back then as well compared to electrolytic caps. Okay, I just realised that while removing caps from here, I browned that. Look how brown it is on the end now. I've discoloured it. Horrendous. Terrible. Ah, dear. Sullied my Mac. Right. Let's get some more caps. I really don't like being this low on caps. I'm very annoyed with myself I haven't ordered these already. Should have ordered them ages ago. Just keep getting distracted. There's a cap there. Did I do that side? Yes, I did. Often when I'm doing recapping, I just kind of zone out, and then I come back and I go, oh, did I do that one? Oh, I did. Don't even remember doing it. Oh, okay. So, Trini, you did get a notification, so at least some did go. About 2 minutes after the stream began. Just a bit tasted. Yes, lots of caps on this board. Okay. Another 10 microfarad 16 volt there. And see that little thing there? That little barrel-y type thing there? That is a diode. And one of the things I hate about those diodes, they're on all these Macs of this particular vintage, I hate the fact that they're round like that. When you hit it with a hot air station, sometimes they just roll off the board. So you've got to be very careful with those sorts of diodes, that you don't lose them. Bit too much solder on that side. So I'm just trying to share it around. There we go. Looking better. And once again, this is my board, so it doesn't have to look like perfection. And I'll probably take a photo of it when I'm finished for my website. So I suppose I want it to look reasonably okay. I want someone to look at it and go, oh, this works rubbish. Can I get in there? Come on. Come on. I got no room. I got no room. I'm going to need a thinner one. I'm going to take my little bendy one here. My bendy one's good for getting into tight spaces. Oops. There we go. Brock came to see the future. The future is very bright. The future is daytime here at the moment. Okay. All right. Let's try this one. I can fit this in here, squeeze it into this little gap. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. Delicious. Looking good. And now get rid of that stupid thing. I've been working with what do you call it? MacBook. I've been working on a MacBook Air lately. I've been having no success with it, unfortunately. It's been driving me absolutely bonkers. But that's another story. But of course, with that, I end up having to use smaller tips, and it's essential because the components are so small. But I really prefer having these bigger tips. They just transfer heat a lot better, and in particular with those things like a MacBook Air, those boards are so good at dissipating heat. If you just can't get the heat where you want it, you just can't get the components off or on or whatever the case may be. They're just awful to work on. I so much prefer working on these older boards. I say it's not just the size; it's just also just the way working with them a lot better. I've got one or two more things I can try with this MacBook Air, but at the end of the day, if I'm not successful with those, I'm probably going to end up having to give it back unrepaired, which means no money for Bruce. I don't like doing that, but at the same time, if I can't fix it, I can't fix it. I like the way I just refer to myself in the third person. Cool, eh? Okay. Whoops, I was off camera. Sorry. When you put the new tip on your soldering gun, is there a key way that so that you which way to put the tip? Not quite sure what you're saying there, Trina. I mean, with something, if we're talking about something like this is so thin you can just spin it around. So wherever I want that tip to go, so this tip can go in, 360 degrees. It can basically sit in here and twist it around however you like. But because this handle is so thin, I can just spin it around to get the point wherever I want it. If that's what you're asking, which I'm not sure. That won't reship the item. They didn't pay the right postage on. Oh, 2 months. Ooh. PowerBook G3, PowerBook G3. There's a few PowerBook G3s, aren't there? I love the PowerBook G3. I've got 3 of them. I've got a... What's the first one? First one looks slightly different. But then after that, I think there's the Lombard, the Wall Street, and the other one. I can't remember. I think I've got one of each of those ones. I like them. I love being able to fire them up and play old OS 9 games on them. In fact, I might even try and do that later today. If I have time, which I probably won't. For those who are sort of vintage Mac people, what's your favourite OS 9 game? One that's worth actually having an OS 9 computer around for. Pismo, yes. Kanga is the one that I don't have. I definitely don't have a Kanga, and of course they're so hard to find. Grudy, I think, Greg Rutke from Rutke Mods, he's got 2 of them. I think one works and one doesn't, or something like that. Yeah, so the Kanga is the one I don't have. I would like one, but I don't. They just don't come up very often. But I've got the Pismo, the Wall Street, and the Lombard. So yeah. Unreal Tournament, okay, yeah. Grids, fun one. I haven't played Grids. Unreal Tournament, of course, I play. Myst, Warcraft, oh yeah, I hear you. Nanosaur, jeez, was Nanosaur OS 9? Wow. I just had it in my head that was OS 10, but yeah, I guess it would have been. What was the name of that company that made Nanosaur? I'm trying to remember it. I can almost see the logo in my head. Pangea, that's right. Thank you to Scarlet Swordfish and Steve. Yes, Myst is one that I definitely love playing. I mean, of course, the great thing about Myst is you can play that on really old computers. You can play it on like an old 2CI if you want, as long as you've got a CD attached or a big enough hard drive to have a disk image of the CD. I really liked some of the games. Yeah, definitely Warcraft, the original, the first one, Warcraft or Warcraft 2, before it became, of course, World of Warcraft and all that sort of thing. That's very, very playable. I love Civilization and Civilization 2. Absolutely love playing those. I love, I love Myst and a lot of those sorts of games, like Myst, the Myst style games. There was one that I used to play called Secrets of the Luxor, and another one called time lapse, and one of my all-time favorites, Zork Nemesis. Love that. I mean, that one was a bit clunky because it was a PC game adapted for Mac, so it's not, you know, coded particularly well. It's a bit clunky, but still love playing it. Absolutely love playing it. Yeah, so they're some of the go. Oh, and I love Carmageddon. Absolutely love Carmageddon. The first one, that was just so awesome. For me, I've never been much of a car racing fan, you know, car racing game fan. I just find them a little bit dull. And just what I loved about Carmageddon is you could just drive anywhere. You didn't have to stay to the track. You could just drive anywhere on the map you wanted. Really good fun. I loved it. And of course, network playable as well with the old Carmageddon. So you could play with your buddies, race them, and try and destroy them and all that sort of stuff. I'm plonking all these caps in place with the little stripe on the side of positive, which is how they are on tantalum caps. Tantalum caps have the little stripe here on the positive side. So making sure I do that. I mean, I don't even really have to think about it these days. Most of the time I get it right without thinking about it. Anyone who watched my last stream, I think I got one of the caps on around the wrong way, but found it before I put any power in it, which is good, because I check. I sure hope this works after it's been recapped. Given the fact that I had one of these and it doesn't work, I've got it as spares, of course. But okay, let's have a quick look here. Starship Titanic, I remember that. That was the one by what's his name? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy guy. What's his name? Can't remember his name. It's gone. Monkey Island games. Okay. System 6 and 7. Yeah. Used an SE with external monitor video card during the beginning of the development of an SE. I think it was an S. I think it was an SE. Yeah, it was either an SE or an SE30. But yeah, SE sounds right. I love playing Warcraft 2 back in the day. Yep, agreed. Any old Ambrosia game, I agree. Some of those Ambrosia games were fantastic. I loved all the sound effects and stuff like that. Yes, you do need to try that with your Voodoo card, Steve. I've been telling you that for a long time. Can you show us the bottom side of a tantalum cap? I certainly can. I will just get these ones stuck on, and then I will show you the underside for the next one. Oh, I'm going to flip this around, don't I? I can't get to this that way. I want to try and get these two lined up like that, because it looks neater. You don't have them lined up, you really notice it when you look at the board at a glance. Oh, my cat's lonely. She wants me to come back inside and keep her company. This is the cat that often sits with me during the Maciac show. Hops up on the desk and sits in front of me. Whoops. Okay. Douglas Adams, that's right. That's the Starship Titanic guy. Happy morning. No, you're right. It's 1 p.m., but you're not far off. You're only 1 hour out. Lemmings is always fun. Yeah. Isn't it amazing? A game like Lemmings, so basic that it is just so darn playable. I really liked Prince of Persia back in the day as well. I find myself getting very frustrated when I play it these days. But at the time, I played Prince of Persia for ages and ages and ages. But nowadays, I just start playing it for a bit and then I just get bored. But when you die and you have to go back and just shush, cat. Goodness. Calm yourself. Okay, I think I've got one more cap to do. I'd want to have one more cap to do so I can show what the underside of a tank looks like, but if I don't, I'll just have to do that anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yes, here's the last one. This is the one I keep missing when I count. This one here, just next to the serial number. I think it was the first one I took off. Okay, so let's just have a look at a tantalum cap from the underside. Not a whole lot to see. Basically, it just looks like that. See? Oopsie. There we go. So you can see the pin actually comes out the side, so it's a piece of plastic sort of sandwiched together, like that. And the pin comes out the side, and then just wraps around underneath like that. And that's it. Geez, that looks like it's got a bit of solder paste on it. I've been working with solder paste lately. I've been reballing SMCs, which we love doing that. Okay. It's about the only thing I use solder paste for. A lot of people use solder paste for soldering on, you know, ICs with lots and lots of pins. You use a stencil. You get some solder paste onto the board with the stencil, and then you put the component on, and then you heat it, and it just melts the solder paste and does it that way. I still prefer, if I'm like soldering something like this on, I still prefer to use solder. Just, you know, good old-fashioned solder and a bit of flux. So, are you going to do a reballing live stream? I am actually going to do a pre-recorded reballing. So, you know, a couple of reasons. Because everyone likes to make all sorts of, you know, dirty jokes about balls on chips and stuff. But no, that's not the real reason. The reason is that I've created a couple of videos on my channel. One for repairing damaged pads, another one for repairing broken traces. And they are probably my most popular videos on the channel. I do these live streams because I like providing the content. I like the interaction of the live streams. You know, it helps me clock up hours on the channel and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the popularity of the videos on my channel, I need to do more of these instructional type videos. So I'm going to do a video of reballing a BGA chip. For anyone who doesn't know what BGA stands for, it stands for ball grid array. It looks something like, I've got one here, like that. That's a BGA chip. And obviously when those, if you have to replace one, when you remove, or if if you get one that doesn't have any balls on it, you need to put the balls on there. And so I'm going to be doing an instructional video on how to do that using a stencil. Again, doing it my way, not necessarily the right way, just my way, the way that works for me. Some people use solder balls. They actually get a stencil and they use solder balls for one ball for each one. I don't. I use solder paste. I've had more success doing it that way. So, yeah, there we go. That's a little BJ chip. I'm probably going to do a little video on just soldering a kit, just for youngsters that might want to get into soldering. I've got a learn to solder video on my channel, and I just thought I would do, okay, here's a kit, let's solder it, that sort of thing. Let's put it together. I thought I might do something along those lines. So they're things that are coming. I've got 2 videos in the pipeline that just need intros and outros. I've got one which is recapping a Macintosh portable, and I've got one which is playing around with an Apple Lisa, but I just haven't had a chance to get those done yet. I've got to do the intros and stuff. You know, for the intros and stuff, I need to write scripts. Takes time. Step 1, find a jar of hundreds and thousands. Step 2, roll them around with solder paste. Step 3, apply BGA chip. Yeah. Yeah. This is solder paste here, by the way. This one is Chip Quick, and it is 63% tin, 37% lead. And when you have a look at it, I'm just going to show this to you now. We'll put it on my dirty desk here. I'm going to squeeze some out. Okay, let's get rid of Let's try and clean the end. There we go. Squeeze some out. Whee! That's it there. Now, what I am going to show you is that what this stuff is loads and loads and loads of little tiny solder balls suspended in flux. That's all it is. That's what solder paste is. Lots of teeny weeny little balls. Just trying to get this centered. Oh, easier said than done. Okay, I'm having trouble getting that focus because it's so zoomed in. But there you can see, just lots and lots of solder balls, and then when you hit that with hot air, it just molds together into a single thing. Let's see if we can do it. Spreading it everywhere. Oh, there we go. What a mess. What a mess. Anyhow, let's clean that up now, shall we? Bit of fun. Okay, that's that little bit of fun done. So it is time for me to test whether this 6100 works. Exciting times. I better just check, as I do in my videos, I always check to make sure that I've got the right caps in the right places and the right polarity, and that I've soldered all the sides down. So I might need my goggles for this if I can find them. Goggles. I can't find them. Great. Okay, so yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Excuse me. Okay, we're looking pretty good, I think. They're all just 47, so I don't need to really worry too much about that. Let's just check the polarities. Yep, 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 yep. All right, we're looking good. Well, I think it's time for some testing. Is the Quadra 610 25 megahertz? The Centris 610 is 20 megahertz. That is exactly right. So, and this is actually a Centris, but it's going to become a Quadra because what we have here is a 68LC040 at 20 megahertz. So this is a Centris 610. But what I have here is the CPU from a Quadra 610. And this is socketed, so I can whip that one out and put in the faster one. But before I do that, I want to test it with the original CPU. So yeah, this is a Centris 610, no floating point unit, and then I'm going to upgrade it to a Quadra 610. It'll still say Centris 610 on the front of the box, but what are you going to do? All right, now I've got all the bits I need here. I've got my little screen. People should be fairly familiar with this now if you've seen my live streams before when I test these things out. Whoopsie. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, we'll need one of these little guys because this is a VGA screen. Make that on there. This is battery powered, so I mean it does. I can power it off a power supply, but it's just having a battery powered is nice and easy. Okay, so there's my little screen, and then I've got to have my little. This is the little adapter, DB15 to VGA adapter. I have this currently set on 21-inch multi-mode, so it should just adapt to whatever res this is capable of outputting. So there's that. Put that to one side. Now, these sort of have to be tested in the box because of the way the cables aren't long enough to test them outside of the box. So unless you've got a separate power supply, which I do have, but can I be bothered? Oh, it's already been removed. Huh. I might be able to do that. Let's try it, shall we? Excuse me while I just go over and grab this power supply. Oh. Power supply. And that will connect there. This power supply has not been recapped, but it is my understanding that it works. I should be able to now connect this, and we should at least be able to get a picture. Well, no hard drive connected to it, but we'll just see what happens. Not exactly the best testing environment, but you know, such is life. Right, okay, I've got to go up and check some stuff here. Oh, here we go. Back. Okay, 6100. I have a 6100, but this is not a 6100. I think I've already recapped my 6100. I think I did it just for a live stream for something to do, and everyone started contacting me going, did it need recapping? Because, you know, a lot of people have 6100s and they're going, no, they don't need recapping yet. And it's right, it didn't, but it did have some corrosion on it, so I'm glad I did it. Did I finish that last cap? I sure hope I did. This is it here, wasn't it? I was going to give it a push. Yeah, it's definitely stuck down. Okay, 3 dislikes. Yeah, as I've said this before, there's people to just jump onto my streams and press the dislike button. It's fun. Some of them do it really quickly too. I mean, they get on a stream like real quick and a bang dislike. It's like, way, well done. I show some real dedication, I tell you. Okay, so issues with the video being crazy until the machine is on for about 20 minutes. That's interesting. Look, it could be a cap issue. I mean, generally when things, it might just need cleaning. I mean, this one here was really had a lot of leakage on it. So if you've got electrolyte leakage on the board, anything can happen. It can mess with just about anything that electrolyte is leaked onto. So generally what I say with anything that needs, of this vintage, it's going to need recapping. There's no point in running any sort of diagnostic until you've done the recapping. It may not be the caps, but while the caps are a problem, there's really no point in diagnosing anything else. So you've got to recap it, then see how you go. If it fixes the problem, you know, that was it. If it doesn't fix the problem, you can start diagnosing what the other issue might be. Could be an issue with VRAM, who knows, but you know, you've got to recap it and clean it first, because, you know, there's just no point in doing any other diagnostics until that has been done. Right. Continental screen is ancient. Is there any good? Yeah, so this was actually bought as a monitor for my video camera, but it's got a VGA input as well as HDMI, so it's quite handy. And it does quite a lot of resolutions, I have to say. It was impressive for such a little thing. It wasn't cheap, but it's because it's pretty specialized, so. Okay, all right, here we go. Is this? Okay, I just want to make sure it's off. I haven't got a speaker connected to it, so we're not going to get a bong or a chime or anything like that, so sorry. Sorry. Okay, power supply is on. Oh, I've just got a little green light on my screen, which means it's getting a video signal. Oh, look at that. Well, you can't see it because it's too friggin' bright. But if you could see it, you'd see a flashing question mark. So let me go and twiddle with the screen so that we can have a look at this. I didn't connect a keyboard or anything. What a dumbass. All right, okay. Right. Never connect a keyboard while the power's on. You know why? Because there's 5 volts running through it and you can fry things. I have done it before, but I just hope I didn't do it then. I need a little SCSI to SD, which I believe is floating over here somewhere. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, let me just fiddle with the screen a little bit, this camera, so that you can see the screen, because you don't want to see me, that's for sure. Up. Up. There we go. Okay, and then let's just auto iris, manual iris. There we go. All right, that should be. How's that look? You can see that? I know it looks blue, but there we go. Here we go. Sorry, it is just amazing here at the moment. So hard for me to move around. All right, so let's connect up some SCSI. I'll probably need to restart it. Oh no, there she goes. Happy face. very happy, yes. I'm just going to grab this mouse which is lying on the floor. There we go. Oh, start with this Macintosh model. That's what I have to say to that. What if I do this? Let me just move this keyboard. No, it's going to just do it again. I wasn't quick enough. Wasn't quick enough off the mark. Okay. If I go, this probably won't work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Shift Option Command Delete 5. No, I have got pretty much every enabler on this operating system. Pretty much every enabler known to humankind. So I'm just guessing that it's System 7.1. So I'm guessing this won't run on 7.1. I probably need 7.5 as a minimum. But, what I can do, I have a hard drive here, which I believe, come on, out you come. I believe has an operating system on it for this computer. So we're going to try that. So let's just switch him off, and we'll just get a hard drive here, sitting on a sled. Oh, Jay, thank you for that. He goes quiet, and then he just comes back with the advertising. So I appreciate that. Get in there. There we go. Okay, we're going to give that hard drive some power, and then we're going to plug it in with some SCSI. Who knows what SCSI stands for? Bing. Oh, no. Thanks, JBot. Small computer system interface. Yes, I knew Steve would get that one. Hang on. Let me just disconnect this. Start off with. Restart. This hard drive may not work, but couldn't type fast enough, yes. Okay. Oh, this is not even the right system on this one. Unless there is actually a problem with this. As always, I did actually have a situation. System 7.1 does not work on this model. Let's just check that. I'm going to check that and make sure that is factual. Because I had an issue with a 2VI once that actually had problems with the computer. And it kept on giving this message even though it could run the system that I was putting on there. And fix the problem, then away we went. I'm going to get on the old Macintosh. And we go here to Centris 610. System software. Okay, enabler 040V1, I might have had to have taken that out. Some of the enablers do actually conflict with each other, so I have had to take some out of my universal system. But this does say that it will run on System 7.1, so it should. I can, not here because I don't have the tools, but I can make this run on System 7.5. But anyhow, before I do that, next thing I want to do is I want to try putting this other CPU in. Whoopsie, switch off. I'll just change over here to this view. While I remove this CPU out of the socket. Now, once again, when I remove CPUs from the socket, I generally don't film what I'm doing because I do it in a way where I think most people would be like, what are you doing? That is not the way to remove a CPU, you crazy person. So I generally just do it while chatting away, and I can't find the tool that I use for it. See, this is why I need to clean this place. It's terrible. Where is my magic CPU removal tool? Well, it's got to be over here somewhere. Or on the floor. It's probably on the floor. might just have to do it without it. Where's my hammer? No, I'm only kidding. I wouldn't use a hammer, of course. But let's just see if I can find a tool that might help me with this. All right. And I do have actual CPU removal tools, but I've never found them to work particularly well. So how do you get the machine to run at 25 megahertz? Well, that's a good question. You mean like if I put a 25 megahertz CPU in it, will it actually run at 25 or will it still run at 20? Don't know. Don't know. I might have to twiddle something and change it. We'll see. I've got as I said, I've got a Quadra 610 board here. I can always compare it and see if there are, like, I don't know, resistors set up differently or something like that. Ta-da! Now, there is I would say about I don't know, 40–50% chance that this CPU won't work. I'm just sort of letting you know that now, straight off the bat. In she goes. Got my dark screen here. Let's move this cable out of the way so you can see the screen. And we'll see if it starts up or whether this is all been a great big waste of time. What the hell is that? Oh my goodness. Huh. Okay, we ready? Once again, we don't get a chime, so I'm not really sure. Doesn't appear to be starting up. Excuse me. So it could well be that CPU is shot. Yeah, I think this CPU is shot, which was always the chance. I'm not getting anything. No display, nothing. I mean, unless the cable fell out, which is always possible. Cables in. Cables in. Switch it on. I can hear the hard drive doing things. But it's probably just the hard drive. No signal. Is it getting warm? Yeah, it's getting warm. Never a good sign when the CPU is getting warm, but it's not starting up. Oh well. That's another bit of investigation for me to do at another time. Needs an oscillator swap to go fast. Well, in theory, it should still work, but just be running at 20 megahertz. I would be very surprised if the CPU didn't just work. I mean, yes, it may not run at its full speed, but I would have thought it would still run. I think there's a fairly high likelihood that this CPU is garbage, because it has a bit of a rough history, this particular CPU. So yeah, let me just have a look. I want to make sure that but to be honest, I can live with 20 megahertz. I'll survive. I'll make sure all the pins are sort of straightish and present. There's a pretty wonky pin there. Yeah. So anyhow, that's not to worry. It's that was always a sort of a maybe, that one. So I'm not overly concerned about that. The main thing was just making it so that it works. The one thing that I am unhappy about is not being able to boot it up into an operating system. That's Very disappointing. Okay, what have I got here? I've got some RAM, a lamb. Oh, look at that one. It's a weird RAM sim, isn't it? Never seen them configured like that before. That's more typical. So it's going to put some RAM in here. Next thing, of course, is going to happen with this is going to go into the ultrasonic cleaner, because ultrasonic cleaner is the magic thing. Often, you know, you just end up with having problems with these things and just bung them in the ultrasonic cleaner and bang, she starts working. Doesn't always work that way, but it often does. Certainly did with a Color Classic I was working with the other day. Whoopsie. I mean, I recapped it as well. It's not like just ultrasonic it. Okay, so I've got the original CPU back in there now, so let's just see what happens. I just want to see it fire up again. Yeah, it's got screen. Screen's good. Blink. Yep, still won't start. Well, look, I'll probably wrap it up. I could go up and reconfigure this SCSI to SD with the system 7.5, but to be honest, that's going to be some pretty dull live streaming while you sit here and stare at a void while I go in and do that. The most important thing at this stage is that it does work. The recapping did work. As usual with these, what I'll probably do is, the next thing I'll do is I'm going to ultrasonically clean it. I'm going to put a system on it, I'm going to get it all up and running, and then I'll probably take a photo of it and put it up on my Facebook page. So if anyone feels a need for closure, jump onto the Brankus Creations Facebook page and follow it. I'll post a picture of this a little bit later on with it all working and being all Centrisy. Yeah, we'll go from there. So how long have I been? Oh, only an hour and a half. Wow, this is one of my shortest streams ever. But I am going to wrap it up now because, as I mentioned before, I do have a huge amount of work to get done in the day today. So I would like to thank everyone who has rocked up. And how are we going here at the moment? We are sitting on 29. So thank you to the 29 people that have hung on now. I'll just quickly catch up on the chat. So, where I don't even know where the oscillator is on this thing. That's one's probably for the real-time clock. Anyhow, yeah, I'll follow this all up later on. So just catching up here. Okay. Okay, good. All right. Okay. Well, thanks again for everyone, to everyone for watching and persevering while I recap this one. Another one. I will probably be streaming again next weekend as well. So I'll hope to see you there. Thank you to anyone who is new watching the stream, and thank you, of course, to my regulars. I do appreciate it, and I will hopefully see you at the next one. So, goodbye all.